So what am I going to be looking at this weekend? Let me pull up the roster here. And I'll tell you exactly what I'll be watching. By the way, I look at exhibition football, and I use John as an example because John's a beat writer. John's like every other beat writer. I get it. He doesn't think shit of exhibition football. Okay? I don't care about the scoreboard. I care about the on-field scoreboard. Who's playing better? Who's going to get more of an opportunity? Who can elevate himself above another guy on the depth chart? How about this? Do you think this matters? A game like this tomorrow for this? Say this here. So Arnold Ebiketie versus AJ Epinenza. You think that game matters to those guys and who maybe Vic would look at as using as the fourth guy in case somebody gets hurt or Grenard's not ready? You think that's something that they'll look at in this game on Saturday? Yes or no? You got that? Do you think that's something they'll look at? Right? So between those two guys, it's important for that on-game and in-game scoreboard. Epinenza has to have a good game, and Ebiketie has to have a good game. For Vic to go like this, well, if Grenard's not ready, of those two guys, who do I take? And who do I put in? And who do I feel comfortable with? How that works out? Oh, I saw Prince talking shit earlier. This guy's got nothing ever good to say. Let's see what he says here. Again, Sills, what's your take on Burrow getting sacked in the opening play? Nothing. He's a great football player. Who cares? Oh, what did you make of it? Let me hear, Prince. Let me get what you made of that. What did you make of that, Prince? Him getting sacked on the first play. Let me hear it. What's this outstanding take? What did you make of it, Prince? Prince, what'd you make of it? Him getting sacked on the first play. Watch this. This will be earth-shattering. They didn't fix the O-line. You came to that conclusion on one play in the exhibition. So then I could have the same throwaway on this. Hurt's still throwing picks in practice. Is that what you're saying? One interception in practice doesn't matter, but one play in an exhibition game, that doesn't matter. They didn't fix the O-line, which they probably didn't because it is Cincinnati. Sills, I would have traded for Sweat instead of Grenard. At least Sweat is available and knows the system. Who says he's available? I've heard Arizona say he's not. I think they still got him on the PUP list, though. Dude, Walter Nolan is a really good football player. He was a really great player at Ole Miss. Okay? Who would be shocked that guy's who we thought he was on draft day? I thought that would be one of the guys that maybe the Eagles would go after, but Walter Nolan can play. Walter Nolan, let's see here. Oh, now what? Let me guess. Now you're a mind reader on how I feel because you know me so well. You don't know me from a can of paint, dude. Would you blame Burrow if he demanded a trade if the situation around him doesn't improve? Dude, no. That's what LeBron James did in Cleveland. LeBron James didn't think that the Cleveland Cavaliers were building a good basketball team around him and that he had to carry him. So he demanded to be traded. They should have just signed. Sweat after the Super. Hey, Kip, revisionist history. Take what out on you? Nolan Smith is my biggest disappointment. We're going to get to that. Yeah. I think they shop him before the season. Okay, so let's go there with that. How many people in here believe this now? That Jalyx Hunt has become and has beat out Nolan Smith as a more important football player on Vic's roster. And here, I can't believe this kid is who he is, and I'll admit it. I thought that was kind of a throwaway pick at 3. I did. This has turned out and turning into something good here. How many people believe that Jalyx Hunt is a more important piece to Vic's defense as we get into the start of the regular season here? I do. And so this first round pick, he'll be an important piece in the pass rushing, no doubt, but he's not a focal point and a building block on his team. So a first round draft choice is not going to be. Hey, I want to show you something here. This always turns out to be kind of harsh talk. But how many people believe that Darius Cooper is not getting a fair shot at starting in the number 3 spot because the Eagles drafted Mekhi Lemon 17th overall? How many people believe that? I do. That Cooper's not going to get a fair look to be the opening day starter because they drafted Mekhi Lemon in the first round. Okay. Well, that's not a 20th overall. Thank you. Okay. We all look at it like that. That Darius Cooper is not going to get a fair look to start. Politics of the league. Jalyx Hunt here. Jalyx Hunt. If Jalyx Hunt was a first round pick, Nolan Smith wouldn't be on the team anymore. But because Nolan Smith is a first pick, he's getting more opportunity. He's not a better player. Hunt's past him. In my opinion, he's past him. And he's elevated. He shows up every day. Led the team in sacks, interceptions a year ago. He's around the ball. He's a ball hawk. He needs to improve on his run defense more. Sure. His durability is good. Really good compared to the other guy. But Nolan Smith is still going to get the chance. If Jonathan Grenard was healthy, Nolan Smith would still start over Jalyx Hunt. Why? Because Nolan Smith's a first-round pick. That's how the Eagles operate. Now, the asterisk in this is Vic. Vic is the asterisk. But how many times does he tell you, hey, that's a Howie thing? So that's going to be interesting. And let me tell you this. If you get Nolan Smith and Jalyx Hunt in that opener, and those are your 2 edge rushers, the guy who's more productive until Grenard comes back, there's going to be your starter. Or maybe not because of the politics. You'll find out your politics in your organization. If Hunt plays 3 games and outplays Nolan Smith and Grenard comes back, I'll bet you anything they start Smith. It's the same reason that Cooper won't be the opening day starter at wide receiver 3. The politics of the game. It's a thing. It's a thing. He's going to need, Jalyx Hunt's going to need the entire season for the Eagles to move completely off of Nolan Smith. If he has kind of a decent year, Smith will probably be on the team at 27. If Hunt has an exceptional year, there's no way in hell Nolan Smith's on that football team. They'll move him in the offseason. Nolan Smith has been given every opportunity to start over Hunt, but Hunt has shown more upside. You're not, again, add into politics now. For some reason, the front office is behind Hunt. The front office is behind Smith. The front office is not behind the lesser drafted guy. The coaching staff is behind Hunt. That's not how that works. The front office will never be behind a lesser drafted guy. You're watching it play out at wideout. What do you think? They situationally do it by position? No, they do it by draft choice. If Howie Roseman, according to John, is in charge of the roster, he's also in charge of who you're going to play and who you're going to play ahead of, who's going to start, who's not going to start, and most explicitly on the offensive side. You've got to add that in to, like, Sills. Darius Cooper has been so good in camp, and he deserves an opportunity. No, he doesn't. Well, Sills, the guy Lemon's on the sidelines. I don't think you quite understand how this works. It works like this in Arizona, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Detroit. You're missing the point. I think Hunt will be in front of Nolan on the depth chart as the season wears down, depending on what Grenard is. Hey, by the way, you want to know a real problem? If Nolan Smith and Jalyx Hunt are your starters, and Jonathan Grenard's your third guy coming off the bench at $25 million, that's a problem. That's a problem. If that guy turns into like low reps for the first part of the season and he's not very productive, and you've got to put Smith and Hunt out there in front of him, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign this offseason. If that plays out like that, and I'm not saying it will, but if that plays out like that, guy's been missing too. He's MIA. Now, of all the guys hurt, him and Smith, Devontae Smith, those guys are pros. They should be able to get back onto a field and know how to prep themselves for an upcoming season. So you're not really worried about guys like that. But for a guy who's only had one injury-free season in 6 years, and he's coming off a low production season in a shoulder injury, I don't know. Let's see how that plays out. By the way, Howie Roseman, in his signs at edge, Jalen Phillips, good. Bryce Huff, not great. Hassan Reddick, great. Let's see what this is. That's Grenard spots to lose with that contract. If he's healthy, he better not be getting outplayed. Yeah. Yes. Nolan Smith or Jalyx Hunt beats out Jonathan Grenard because of injuries, not ready to play, and he doesn't have a productive season, that won't be a very good sign. Like if Grenard turns out to be a $25 million backup, you better hope you win the Super Bowl. Because then you could justify it. Well, he gets hurt at the beginning of the year. He had a rough offseason. He had injuries to his shoulders. He played. He still contributed. And we'll see what he does next year. So you could go down that lane. You could go down there. Yeah. I think Jalyx has turned out to be more of a important player in Vic's piece as you go forward here and as you're going to build your football team. To me, Jonathan Grenard, Jalyx Hunt, Smith as your rotation piece, Milton or Amaro Jomo, Jalen Carter, and Davis. It's a pretty good front. Big Marsh, another Nakobe Dean situation. Don't get used to Smith. He won't be here. Well, in my opinion, Marsh, I think Hunt's out. I think he's elevated himself above him now. If you're being honest with yourselves, if you're the Eagle organization, the only thing that is still in Smith's favor is that he was a 1. Howie's got to justify that. Hey, remember something. Howie Roseman, he's going to be able to justify that 1 not working with this. Well, Hunt covered. He covered that 1. Yeah, that's how you look at it. Like I told you about what they did with RG3. That same draft, I believe in the same draft. Kyle, fact check me on this. I believe in that same draft that they got RG3. I think they got Kirk Cousins, like in the 5th round, because they hedged their bets. That was Kyle. That was Mike Shanahan, I believe. I agree. Draft pedigree usually matters more than anything, but Howie likes nothing more than his gamble picks working out. It's why Malad is here and why they didn't try to salvage Dillard. Dillard wasn't good, dude. That was a bum pick. He wasn't good. I don't even think he's in the league. He says, I must say MLB can't compete with the NFL, but watching the Hall of Famers walk out of the cornfield almost made me cry. MLB did a good job. Yeah, that Field of Dreams game is one of the best things that they do. When baseball goes back to doing stuff like that, that's the kind of stuff that makes Major League Baseball really, it's romantic when you see stuff like that. Baseball's got so much great history. And when they go into using the history of the sport like that, it is an iconic moment. I think that Field of Dreams game, to me, is a better watch than the All-Star game. I like that stuff, man. I mean, it's exactly right. They put a TV show on, and what they're doing is they're using the game of baseball with a movie theme. And then you're bringing out the legendary names. I mean, you can't get away from that. I mean, everybody is going to watch that, and you're like, God dang. And you're seeing all these legendary names walk out. Says, you think we'll get more answers about our depth tomorrow or Mannion running his offense with backups? Let me get to that now. So what I was saying to you about what I'll be looking for tomorrow. Here's what I'll be looking for player-wise. I don't believe they'll put a Jomo, Davis, and Carter in. They may. I want to see what Ty Robinson looks like if he's improved. He was terrible last year. I want to see more Byron Young, Ebiketie, Epinenza. I want to see what Trotter looks like. Okay, now remember something. You may hear Trotter look great in camp. And then why would Trotter not look good in a game against Baltimore? Anybody? Why would Trotter look better in camp than in the game on Saturday? Couple things, couple reasons, but why do you think? There you go. The front. Weak DTs. Weaker DTs. Getting hooked and slipped, knocked off the ball. Got to step back. Your scraped lane's getting impeded because the guys are getting blown off the ball or guys getting reached and scooped. So when you're watching Trotter tomorrow, take that into consideration. Who's in front of him? How are those guys playing? How are they looking? Okay, so keep that in mind with him when you're looking at Trotter and Munden tomorrow. Or, yes, tomorrow. I'd like to see Mac McWilliams. I'd like to see what they're going to do with Jonathan Jones. Something that I heard some people saying about Reek Woolen. Reek Woolen looks good in street clothes. Get him on the field. Let's see what he plays like. Let's see how he looks. A couple things people have been saying about him, like translating to the field. I don't think you'll see DeJean or Q. Both those guys were on the sidelines yesterday. Want to see Michael Carter. I wonder if they'll put Jahad Campbell in. I bet you Vic plays him a little. Doubt you'll see Campbell. You're going to see Nolan Smith. Because they want to see Nolan Smith. I would think. Thank you, my friend Mikey. Big Sills reports are saying Wicks and Cooper are stepping up as receivers. Wicks is going to play. Cooper may get reps during the coming season. Chances of him starting are 0. Watching Trotter on tomorrow, just look at his placement where he is on every play. If he's in the right spots, that's all. Marsh, see if he has false steps. You know what a lot of guys will do? They'll make a false step because of a read. They're not reading their keys. And I think that's what you're talking about, how he fits. Watch the fits. Yes. Offensively, Willie Lampkin, Drew Kendall, Markel Bell. Here's the battle in the O-line. Markel Bell or Fred Johnson? Who's going to be the swing tackle? How important has Drew Kendall become this year? If you got an injury at center or you got an injury at guard, how important has Kendall become? Does Kendall pick up that role of being a guy who can go in? Landon Dickerson said they played basically him and Cam with injuries and they shouldn't have. Okay? Conditioning will be something to watch. Most guys get hurt because lack of conditioning. I hear Nick saying that they do a lot of running before and after practice. So I don't know if conditioning is going to be an issue. Now the most important ones. I want to see how Sean Mannion gets in and out of plays. Keep an eye on this. When you're on the sideline, And this is why I say Andy Dalton starts. To get the offense and to see the offense. If Tanner McKee starts, does Tanner McKee have a grip on this Green Bay offense? Does he know what he's doing in this Green Bay offense? I think the guy who starts is the guy with the most knowledge, not the most talent. I'd rather have a quarterback get me in and out of plays on time than a quarterback who can't get me in and out of plays on time, who might be more talented, but still going to take pre-snap penalties. Illegal procedure, offsides, motion issues, all of that. Who gives you the better shot at running a clean operation? McKee or Andy Dalton? That's what a coordinator's looking at. Coordinator's not looking at who the more talented guy is. Who gets me in and out of plays with less problem on pre-snap? Get to the line of scrimmage. All of a sudden, I got an audible because there's an odd front. Odd. That's going to check the That's going to check the pass protection. Fan. Odd. They slid. And the quarterback's got to change that. Then you on the defensive side have to adjust to that as well. Base. And you have to know all this within inside of 15 seconds when they turn that thing off. So, what you have to know is who gets you out of that and who gets you and into a clean operation more. Tanner McKee or Andy Dalton. Responsibility of lining up on time. Lining up in the right position. That takes no ability. Except for what? Preparation, understanding the offense, having played in it, having excelled in it. Who gives you the better chance? Now, if they just want to see McKee and throw him in there, the whole thing could be a train wreck. Keep an eye on pre-snap, how many penalties they got on illegal procedure, offense. How about the play coming in on time? Does the play come in on time? Does he get to the huddle and he's got 20 seconds in the huddle, snaps the huddle, gets to the line of scrimmage before the earpiece goes out? 25-second shot clock for you. Does he get a chance to get to that line of scrimmage to hike the ball before 5 seconds as well? Because you want to take that clock down as much as possible to keep that defense in the defensive set on what they're playing. Because what you don't want to do is snap the ball at 10. And all of a sudden you got a post-snap coverage change. That benefits the defense. That snap count that the quarterback does is so important on defensive schemes and setting coverages. That's why Peyton Manning used to get down to 5 seconds. And Jonathan Vilma would tell you, he'd get down to 5 seconds, and as soon as he got to 5 seconds, set! Vilma would change the defense. With 5 seconds left after that. Because Manning had to get the ball off. It's a chess game. So you're going to watch Mannion on how he operates. Is he going to give him 2 plays, 3 plays? How is he going to use his timeouts? See if they're going to be, what kind of plays they run on first and second down. And then watch Chris Cooper's guys. How many times are they going to attempt that stretch run? And those stretch runs. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And again, how many times and where are you going with the slot? Are you going to be more active in the slot? Are there going to be more checkdowns? More threatening to the middle of the field? Keep an eye on how many passes go inside the hash marks. See, you guys look at the game differently than I do. I look at what they're trying to accomplish. What they're going to try to accomplish, they're not going to show plays. But what you have to do is show Sean Mannion knows what he's doing situationally. And here's something else. You don't have to unzip your fly and show your playbook. What you do have to show is, all right, Sean, you're in 3rd and 4. What's your play you're going to run here? A base run? Because you don't want to show anything? We'll know that. He just ran something because he didn't want to show the playbook. If you see him run a base run on 3rd and 4, that's okay. That's smart. He's hiding the playbook, and if they get it or they don't, it's not a big deal. But they practice the zone run, okay? How about when you're in 3rd and 11? What's he throw? Is he going to throw to the middle of the field, to the numbers? Is he going to throw a check down? I'd rather see a check down in this game on 3rd and 11 against the Ravens than throwing for the numbers, even if it doesn't succeed. They threw checkdowns. You put Barkley in that role instead of putting Will Shipley in that role, I'll take my shot with Barkley. That's what I would want to see. And remember, every time they throw a play, put the starter in. Oh, they ran a nice seam route. And put Devontae in there instead of Elijah Moore. Think about what that would look like with Devontae Smith running that seam route. And go, well, Smitty's going to get a better release than what Elijah Moore did. He got jammed at the line there. Smitty's going to get off the line better than that. And he's a better route runner. Sills, per Adam Schefter, Atlanta Falcons former Tennessee edge rusher James Pierce is being suspended 8 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. He's lucky he's not been banned for life for his intolerable behavior. He's lucky he wasn't suspended for life. And he's lucky he's not in prison for life. I say he got off light. And that's why he's 3rd on the depth chart, because they were anticipating this. I'm sorry, Sills, but I think QB1 needs some live reps, and that's why I like about Andy. Here, I just don't believe they're going to put him in there. I think they're going to take those organized team scrimmages, and they're going to evaluate more from that than they are from these games. And, I just think I think the Patriot game the Patriot practice next week is when he's going to get full opportunity to see quality reps, Jalen Hurts, in this offense. You're not, in those team, I don't believe you tackle to the ground in those team practices. So, yeah, they don't want anybody injured. And I get it. Sills, that's the exact reason I would play Dalton. They could use him as a teaching tool because he knows the system. Yes, and he's experienced. And by the way, too, Kim, when a guy like Sean Mannion, who's a former quarterback, is talking to a quarterback, I think that messaging is better. Kim, do you think Doug Peterson and Frank Reich had a better communication with Nick Foles because all 3 of them were backup quarterbacks? And they all understood the role that Nick was in or Nick was trying to do? An uphill battle at carrying a football team. And Frank Reich engineered one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history. Also in college, he did it when he was at Maryland against my team. Then you got Doug. I think that communication between a former player and a current player, I think that's beneficial on how you talk to one another. Sills, think there are more injuries in modern sports because more kids don't grow up outside during the developmental and growth phase. Not less talent, less durability. Your thoughts? I just think it's less preparation on the upcoming season. That's why you see more hamstring injuries and more lower body injuries. And I think the new turf stinks. Personally, Michael, It's this. You're like Vic talks about, your body's not football scabbed. Back in the day when we did 3-a-days, 2-a-days for 2.5 months, the start of the regular season, you were ready to go. You're ready to go. Hey, you can run on a treadmill. Kim's in here. She knows. You can run on a treadmill. Treadmill, running in a straight line. You don't do anything in a straight line. Football's not played in a straight line. Your career's not in a straight line. There's nothing in football that's in a straight line. So you've got to get the joints, the knees, the ankles, the wrists, the biceps, the elbows, the neck, everything in football shape. It's not just lifting weights, doing squats. It's like being a tennis player. Tennis players, think about the movement that they have. Right, left, lateral, up, jump, back, serve, boom. Those are great athletes. Just hitting a ball is not going to make you a great tennis player. You got to have mobility. And in football, you have to have mobility. And you have to work at mobility. And you have to work at keeping yourself conditioned mobility-wise. So when you have limited practices, and these guys, Xander had to stop me from saying 2-a-days. Because he's right, there's no 2-a-days. This isn't 2-a-day practices. You kidding me? 2 3-hour practices? These guys are out there 40 minutes. It's not practice. That's like a get-together. It's a good question. Sills, if you played today, how do you think you'd do? Well, I know I'd make every football team I ever tried out for. Twice I was the last player cut, and we only kept 47 players. Now 70 players make a team. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be a great player, but I'd be on a roster. I mean, 70 ball players versus 47 when I played. I mean, you figure it out. Hey, and I'm glad these guys got more jobs. I think that's great. 70 players make a ball team, counting the practice squad. And you don't practice lateral movement on a tread. No, that thing's on a straight line. So when Marshall Faulk was being recruited to San Diego State, a coach by the name of Curtis Johnson recruited him, went on to coach 11 years at the U. Yeah, I know him. Marshall Faulk probably should have beat Gino Toretta out for the Heisman that year, too. Practices used to be so intense, the game was easy by comparison, especially from an energy standpoint and a conditioning standpoint. Do you know how hard it was for a guy like Jordan Davis? Hey, get this. Do you think there would be, if Jalen Carter played in the 1980s and 90s, do you think there'd be a weight requirement in his contract or workout requirement in his contract? No. You know what the coaches would do? They got him for 2 months. They're going to whip his ass into shape. 2 3-hour practices during 2-a-days. By the time the season came, be no need for no conditioning parts in your contract. Because his ass would be in shape. There was no need for weight requirements in your contract. What up, Sills? Just joining. Thank you, my friend. Been planning my stream. Burrow's hurt again. I saw the foot. There's no way I take him over Hurts. Debate's done. It's over. Best of it. Yes. 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 No question. But that Burrow injury is not that serious. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. You scared, Jeremiah Love will run over the league. That's pretty brave sitting there saying that with that shitty O-line of yours. But he looked pretty good last night. Oh, by the way, I do want to bring this up. So I watched Fernando Mendoza and I watched Carson Beck the previous week learn a new offense, learn the NFL system, and they played pretty well in their game. I heard John say this. We got to put in context who they're playing against. So they look better with lesser talent around them. I take that as something really, as a high compliment for those players. You're playing with lesser players, and you're still moving the chains, and you're still looking good and knowing what you're doing and getting guys in and out of huddles. And you're learning the pro game, and you're learning a brand new system. I find that to be exceptionally promising. You put them out there with better ball players, you're going to get a better result. I mean, you're going to get a better result. I thought Fernando Mendoza looked pretty good. I thought he held the ball a couple times, but you know what else I loved? A couple times he took a hit in the pocket. Good. Showed pocket toughness. I think Clint Kubiak is going to be a great play caller for him. I thought Genty looked a bit better. I think he's so overrated. I don't think much of him. I didn't think much of him when he was at Boise State. I think he's okay. Do I think what was that kid's name? Hey, Arizona. What's that kid's name? Connor? James Conner? The kid from Pitt? I think he could be somebody like that. A James Conner. But to be one of the more exceptional backs, yeah, no, I don't see that. Now, could that be his bad old line? Because the Raiders have a bad old line. Now, they went out and got Linderbaum, and it was a factor in there, and he ran the ball better. Genty ran the ball better. And he looked okay, but he runs to contact. The one thing that Saquon Barkley is exceptional at, in traffic, he's a fantastic runner in traffic and avoids contact. And he's a big dude. And then if he has to, he'll run you over. In traffic, Barkley is exceptional. He's exceptional. He's got exceptional gifts. He's got great feet. And I don't see that with Genty. I don't see great feet with him. I see a good player, but exceptional? Yeah, I don't see that. Now, they got Brock Bowers on that team. They got another tight end that's pretty good on that team. Raiders are about 3 drafts away from being a true competitive team in the AFC, depending on what the other AFC teams do. Plus, they're in that division. And it just depends on how Mendoza develops. I'll say this about Mendoza. I think he's going to be a grand slam, or he's going to be kind of like Sam Bradford. Like that. He's going to either be exceptional or Sam Bradford. And whatever you think of Sam Bradford, that's kind of what I think when I watch Fernando Mendoza. I still can't get like a read on him yet. He moves around well. He got out of a couple scrambles. I think the Raider defense is terrible. Their front seven's not very good. Their secondary is weak. Okay? I mean, they're just not good. I know they didn't play Crosby, but Crosby can't make, like if I were the Raiders, I would move Crosby. I would move him. What's the point? It's like having Myles Garrett in Cleveland. Like, what's the point? Yeah, Kim, I was never impressed with him. He ran over all those crappy programs, got into the playoff, and they stuffed him. What do you think these trash franchises, Cardinals, Browns, Jets, etc., can do to get out of the slump? What can they learn from the other clubs to be respectful, let alone winning teams? It's getting bad. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. Cardinals, awful GM. Browns, awful owner. Jets, awful owner. Every one of those teams have awful owners. Cardinals, the Bidwells, Haslam, and Woody Johnson. It all starts at putting people in positions of football and where the importance is with finances and also with football people. Now, what's made Howie get better, Howie's evolving into a better personnel guy because he came from the money side. Howie wasn't a personnel guy. Howie was a money guy. And he's evolving into a personnel guy. I think Andrew Berry is okay, but when you got an owner like Jimmy Haslam, how are you going to make any quality moves when you got an owner that's knee-jerk reaction? And let's face it. Jimmy Haslam is the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. He didn't want to trade with the Boston Celtics. He didn't want to trade Giannis because he just didn't want to trade him because he didn't like him, even though Boston offered him more. Don't you try to make your football team and your basketball team better? And the Jets are the Jets. Yeah, but coaching bootleg, that all starts from ownership. That starts at the top. Shields, how do you put a value on Crosby? He's tough to figure out after the Baltimore BS. Yeah, here's what you do. Hey, I got a really good player on my team I'll give you, and I'll give you a third and a fourth for him. By the way, next year, you won't get this deal. Take it now. You think next year at 32, with meniscus injury, you're getting a 2 and a 3 for him and a good player? You're out of your mind. Who would trade for a 32-year-old guy with knee conditions and who had his meniscus replaced? You're going to give a 1 up for that? A 2? Not likely. So what I would do if I were the Cowboys or anybody that needed an edge rusher, I'd go to Las Vegas and go, what are you doing with the guy? Now, that's in case you want to have him finish his career out as a Raider. Okay, he's 28, he's 29, and he's got 35-year-old knees. He's 28 with 35-year-old knees. You want to give him a 1 up for that? Or a 2? Not happening. I don't think that guy's value is where you think it is. If you ever want to read a book, I love Mike Lombardi's Football Done Right. It talks about the trees, how to build a culture, how to build a roster. Highly recommend it. I'll tell you exactly how to build it. I was there where Jimmy Johnson built it. Starts with loyal assistant coaches that are phenomenal talent evaluators. There's a reason why every one of those coaches followed Jimmy from Oklahoma State to Miami to Dallas. And when Jimmy left Dallas, they stayed behind. Turner, Dave Wannstedt, Butch, Campo, all those Tony Weiss, all those coaches stayed behind. And that's how they won that third Super Bowl without Jimmy, with his coaching staff. Jimmy put Bob Ackles in. You know what Bob Ackles would do, Kim? Bob Ackles would call up every freaking team and say, we like this guy, we like that guy, we like this guy, we like that guy. And then Bob would come to him, and at the end of every day, he'd go, well, they might move him. They might not move him. They might move him. You could probably get a 5th rounder for him. You could do this here for him. You could probably, if you traded this guy, get that. So Jimmy made 54 trades in 5 years. It doubled the league. Nobody did trades. He made 54 of them. He doubled the league. The Cowboys did 54. The league did like 30 total. That's how he built it. And he had a value chart. I think you're worth this. I think you're worth this. That's what Howie Roseman does. Do you understand? Darius Cooper is worth this to Howie right now. Not what he's done on the practice field. His value right now is this. It hasn't moved. Mekhi Lemons is here. That's what his value is. That doesn't move in preseason. That's not going to move. That moves during the regular season. All the stuff that Darius Cooper is doing now, it will not affect anything except for this. Maybe get him opportunities. That's how that works. Why would you be shocked? I'm surprised he's not suspended for life. Hollywood Brown is out. Keep Quez on the practice squad. You know what I liked about Jalen Hurts? I saw with a video. I saw Jalen Hurts was working with Hollywood Brown on his routes. That's good stuff. I thought that was pretty good. Hey, Hollywood Brown struggling on some routes and rounding off. I think that's pretty damn good. Absolutely. So, folks, many of you watch these exhibition games, and you don't really see, like, Ebiketie and Epinenza. You don't think this game tomorrow matters to those guys? On who Vic may use as his fourth rotation piece with Gennard being down? I don't look at the scoreboard like on the stadium wall. I look at the scoreboard on the field and on the depth chart. That's how you look at exhibition football. Is Fred Johnson going to be able to keep that swing tackle role, or is Markel Bell won it? That's what these games matter. There's a game inside the game. This is how you build a 53-man roster. Hey, the front 11 are cool. Everyone knows who your front 11 are. Remember, there's 22 guys, and there's another part of your roster you got to fill. I don't think fans get that, how important